Hello, hello, hello. That was a different vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my V Life crew.
Little house music.
It's another Friday on the V Life podcast here on Podcast Detroit. It's your girl AD, and I got my girl C Banks. Hugh is back in the building. He's off his hiatus.
Hugh Chambers.
Back. And we got Mr. E, a.k.a. the real Anthony Anderson.
The real Anthony Anderson.
And we have special guests in our midst today. We have our young state rep, Joel Jones.
Mr. Jones in the building.
And
Welcome.
you said, say your name again.
Diaja.
Diaja. Yes. Also,
Ruffin.
Diaja Ruffin.
Diaja Ruffin.
Y'all ain't nothing without Diaja Ruffin. That's
Ooh.
good. What's her name? What's the name from the Temptations?
oh my
Eddie.
goodness.
David Ruffin.
Oh,
David.
David. I said
David
Eddie.
Ruffin. Y'all ain't nothing without
That's
him.
your family?
Yes.
It is? Oh,
Wow.
Little,
He relates to you?
okay.
What?
That's wild.
That.
Okay.
That is some history in the building.
Y'all
Them
ain't even know.
too. Well, you guys are joining us on another Friday. We had a different vibe going, a little more techno, more
Something new.
Yeah, house.
Something new.
Something new, something fresh. It's almost February. Or is it February? No. Tomorrow's
February.
So is it February? Not yet.
Close.
All right. So today on our show tonight, we're going to be talking about old school versus new school. And that pertaining to health and politics, relationships, and just the way of the way we're thinking now in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
So-
the first word that comes to your mind right now.
Oh, what is
Old.
the first thing that could old?
Since that's what we're talking about, old and new.
That's what it is. This is the paper right there.
Well, that was good. So, Hugh, how does it feel to be back on the show? We missed you.
Yeah, we
You
missed
looking
you, brother.
nice. You looking clean. You looking
Thank you.
suave.
I was
Healthy.
looking dirty the last time you seen me. Huh?
I mean, a little ashy. But who's counting?
She's a little ass.
Who's counting?
Don't be a girl. That's a girl. Oh my God, you look great. Have you lost weight? What are you saying? I was fat?
Right.
Don't do that.
I feel good, man.
I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that. But yeah, that's good. We happy to see
We're
you.
glad to have you back.
Thank you. Thank
Any,
you. Thank you.
I mean, do you want to tell us anything?
What's new?
I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Hit you with the twinkles. What's new?
What did we miss? Too much fun, right?
Don't be
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
too much
well.
fun. Okay.
All right, I didn't know. Vicarious, I don't know. We just trying to figure out maybe we can
I
learn
don't know if y'all
something.
wanna
To learn something.
Talk to these kind of people.
Don't be
I
shy.
don't look good. Yeah.
They regular people.
He got the mumble rap.
Jewel's from the neighborhood.
He all like, oh,
He like real conversation.
no, no.
Nothing wrong with real conversation.
Right.
I went to jail. That's where I was going.
Okay.
I was in jail.
I'm
since
sure a lot of our
1986.
listeners can relate.
Yeah, definitely was in jail. The law enforcement got behind me, and I decided not to stop. I had somewhere else to be, so I would rather have been there.
Fuck 12.
And I left.
They right outside.
Yeah, they stay outside of this building.
Yeah, we downtown. They gonna be here.
They gonna be
Like,
everywhere.
we making
Here
sure
and here
where
and
you
everywhere.
supposed to be.
So yeah, and
So what did
I
we
took them
learn?
on what we call a chase.
Okay,
sweet,
vicarious.
Yeah, and
Gotta do it at least once in a life.
It's like it
then,
seems like the thing.
You said, what did we learn?
So what did we learn?
I should have went 80 instead of 50.
Oh,
You
Okay.
think? Shit.
Because I got caught.
You think? 80 instead of 50.
all right.
You was trying to get
I don't
caught.
think that's the answer she was looking
I
for.
don't think so.
I
It wasn't.
do not
You thought I
believe
should have went 80.
Should have went a little faster,
Uh,
and I probably would have made the last 3 podcasts.
Okay, but listen, I'm gonna keep it real.
Okay.
Knowing what we know now about blacks and law enforcement, like, why would you run? You're a black male. Like that.
That's why I ran.
Why would
'Cause
you
I'm a black male.
No, like I would have just. All right, okay, like
Yeah,
time it up, Uncle. Time it up just a little bit.
How about Uncle Tom?
yeah, I could do the Uncle Tom that time.
That's fair.
Next time,
Life
I might
happens.
get
Maybe next time.
do the time.
life happens.
You know what, officer? Here you go. Is all your stuff, you whatever you want to
There
know.
you go.
But last time,
You'll have it all together next time.
I kinda was just like,
They'll
you
never
know
do
what,
that
officer?
again.
Just one for the
I gotta
books.
go. You
It's
holding
okay.
me up.
Right.
That's all. You know
It's a little bucket list experience, right?
you know.
Well, either way, we're happy to have you back, and thank God you don't have a black eye.
No, not no more.
Uh,
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
You gotta be-
you so-
Not no more. They ain't beat me up.
That's good. So last week we did have the mayor of Inkster on,
Yeah,
and they
that
did
was
do a
nice.
little holla for you, Joel.
Yeah,
for
okay,
last
okay,
night,
okay,
'cause I
okay.
told them he was coming this week. So they did shout you out, and it'll be good to have both of you guys on, maybe
One
in a
time,
few
yeah.
months, the spring or something. I would like to see you.
Maybe
both
on
of y'all.
location or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
On location, it'd be real
Yeah,
sweet.
somewhere.
Joel, I know you got something. What you got? A holiday party? Something we can.
Sure, we might have
Show
something
up
coming
to?
up too. Yeah, we might have something coming up soon.
Did
I'll
you
let
say
y'all know.
wait? Did you say holiday?
Yeah.
You can use it for everything.
You
I love
see?
it.
Yeah.
I do
You
love
see
it.
that?
It works.
I liked
it
it
just
that.
works. I was like, why didn't I
Holiday.
think of that?
It works.
Why didn't I
Okay.
think of that?
I'm
You don't
sorry,
say
I interrupted.
holiday.
No, I say it,
Every
but
day
I
is a
don't
holiday.
say it.
You got
You
the
know, I
joke
say
joint
it, but I
on.
don't say it. Right. So, Joel, like I said, the
XL.
topic is
XL. I wear XL.
Okay.
okay. On the holla, he trying to get
I just
look.
heard what he was saying.
You want us to
XL?
advertise? He's about
We've got the marketing team here today.
Right.
Exactly. You so
Fine.
silly. So our topic today is old school versus new school. Like I said, talking about different things. Now, Joel is a new school politician, so his views are different than the old ways, I would say. Because you have a
I'm
different
old head
mindset.
for sure.
You got an old spirit, but you still are young, so you have a fresh perspective versus how some people just go along with the program, bandwagon.
Right.
Yeah. So what and I'm starting to see more younger people of color too that are being involved in politics. Have you seen a different dynamic?
I mean,
Noticed
I
anything?
definitely think so. I think even, what bro was talking about when he first got on about the state of the state, it's even like, we traditionally just haven't been involved, but now it's like we making it like cool. We're making like positive, like sexy, now because it's like so many young people of color getting involved, not just in Michigan, but just all over.
Right.
So, and especially we think so much differently than folks that's been there for a long time. So, they've been trying to fix law. I mean, like, it's crazy the laws you see, like people be minimizing the amount of like wolves you can hunt, or the amount of fish you can catch and shit. And it's like now we are coming on the scene trying to say like, yo, we want to expunge all marijuana felonies because now everybody making money off of marijuana. So now we want to give everybody a life back. Like so it's like it's a different, it's just a different way of thinking for us compared to everybody else. Like we trying to solve like the everyday issues,
Right.
like auto insurance kind of stuff. Like paying for college. And this stuff they've been thinking about, but it's like we just coming up with radical ideas, just dropping an idea. Like,
Right.
what, eliminate all college, because like you got to start somewhere so you can work it down to a realistic like conversation. So that's what I've been noticing lately. Cause
Do you think it's
Expunge all marijuana felonies. That's crazy. With marijuana legal here, there's people in jail still. here.
exactly
Yeah.
doing years for marijuana?
And oftentimes they're like black and brown people too.
Exactly.
Like more often than not. So
Right. Now, do you get a lot of pushback from older politicians, not only black, but of other ethnic backgrounds as well, because of the free thinking and the way that the young people just bring ideas to the table and trying to really actually change things versus just saying they are?
yeah, I don't know. Diaja might be able to talk about that more about on her journey, because I know for me, like I was one of like the first young people that got in the game, so it's kind of like we like surprised them, you
Right.
know?
They was
But
in-
now they like watching all the young cats get in the game now, and they trying to be like, damn, that little dude Joel got in, he started acting crazy. I don't know, we can't let no more of them
he's
get
using
it.
holla.
Yeah.
What?
Like, I don't know what it is. So it's like, sometimes when you see other people trying to come up, it's like they be getting blocked from different angles. But so she might be able to talk about that more. But I think at any time, if you come into something being new on the scene, people who've been there for a while, of course they're going to try to like block you because they feel like you about to come and take over their territory or something.
And have you experienced any of that personally?
Definitely.
Well,
Got a
give us an
story?
experience. Give us a story. A good one.
Stories. Ooh, I don't know about telling stories, but lessons that I've learned, I would say that it's definitely challenging just being young. And now that I'm a black woman,
Yes.
it's worse. It's like, okay, a black young man coming in, but you have a black young woman talking to older men other colored men, it's kind of harder. Especially, we like to say that black women want to support black women, but oftentimes we recognize that black women are against each other because of as much pushback that we get just from being black. It's like I'm sitting at the table, but how am I going to sit at the table if somebody else is sitting at the table too?
Right.
You know, so trying to figure that dynamic out has definitely been challenging, but I think it's conquerable.
Yeah.
It's just about being a good-hearted person and knowing that your intentions are important. So I just always go back and look at my goals. I never let what's going on affect me as much as what change I want to implement.
Good. And
So
that's good.
What is one of your goals to accomplish in politics? What's one of your main goals? What do you stand fast on?
Yeah.
On the community.
Okay.
I would say that politics is about money.
Okay.
And we like to look past that and just look at service, but the government are the people who generate the money. The way that the money is being brought out is because of them. So once we recognize that, we will see that the community and money are not correlating together. So it's like, this is what your job is. Why isn't this money being reflected in certain areas?
Right.
Actually, what is your title?
I'm the 13th Congressional Democratic Party Treasurer, but I have several titles.
Can you say that one more
She's
time?
got several hats.
Can you say that
Good.
one more
That's
time? You just
good.
said it long.
13th Congressional Democratic Party Treasurer.
That's cold. I don't know what it is, but that's cold. to even
Explain
just
that
Would
say
you
it.
like to explain it for us?
Do y'all know Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib?
Not at all.
Okay. See, we gotta be educated on
Yeah.
these type of
Yeah.
things, though.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
That's
she
true.
she's one of the congresswomen, so it's like the state rep at the like the U.S. level. So
Okay.
she's the one who can potentially impeach Trump.
Wow.
But now it's with the Senate, so those are like our Debbie Stabinovs of the world, I'm sure.
Right.
But
Yeah.
stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
That's really
I
awesome.
applaud
So
you.
how did you get involved in politics at all? Like, were you always interested in either like debate or, standing up for the little guy when you were younger? Like how?
Honestly, I had a transition in my heart. So I'm a very spiritual person, and I know that change is important. And we like to make change in the pulpit, but often that doesn't reflect in the community either.
Right.
So I know that I'm a minister. That's everyone is if we believe in the Bible or have read the Bible or anything, whatever religion or practice that you may do. Because I'm not a religious person myself, but when I had that encounter, it told me that I need to be a leader in the community. And so I seen what Joel was doing, honestly. And within that, I just started watching everything that he was doing and seeing how I could implement myself within what he had already started instead of trying to, be by myself and do
Start a
something.
grassroots.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. We got to, team
Need a
up.
team up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come together. Yeah, that's a big important step because, like you said, even going back to how you have some women at the table already that's already have that position. And oftentimes, even myself, having a background in broadcasting, and sometimes it's the same kind of backlash. If it's one woman in a position, they're not looking too happy to see the young, fresh face coming in. It's a threat to their job instead of them trying to help build you up and allow you to have that opportunity and for them to actually start thinking about moving on or doing something greater. They instead like, oh wait, I can't let this position go. Like we're after 10, 15 years, you would think you would be ready to grow and try something different and try to impact somebody else in a different way. But it's always like the cutoff, like, oh wait, oh no, don't think you coming in here trying to do nothing, and it is unfortunate. Because even myself, I'm always trying to uplift any black woman that I see just doing anything good, or someone who needs that encouragement just to try to do
extra
better.
support.
Yeah, and I do feel that same backlash when it comes to certain, and mostly in all aspects and anywhere. If you have a strong head person, they, especially with women, like men, sometimes I pull each other up and say, yeah, we got something for you to do. Come on through. But women, they are very threatened by other young black women that's coming up. And I really do have an issue with that because we're all here to try to make a change and open doors for the next generation. So why are you trying to block me?
I think that sometimes we just lose the vision. Like when you get a lot of workload, or you have a lot of issues to deal with, and listening to a lot of different ideas, and getting your hand tied with certain people, it starts to like blur your vision. And I made sure I told myself before I started this that I would never allow someone else to blur my vision as to what is going for my life. Now, as far as what that looks like with other people, now that's different. You know, where areas I'm going to be in, I have no idea. But as far as what's my purpose, I'll never will lose sight of that. And I think that that's what we do. And that's what the system is created for us to not have vision.
Yeah.
So when we recognize that, we'll be able to see, like, okay, it's not me against myself so much or me against her. It's made that way. Like, they want to make sure it's staying that way.
So that we're, not working together and we're not seeing a bigger and brighter future for anyone.
Seeing a lot of us.
Yeah.
You know, if it's only 5 people out of 100 people that are black women or black in general, it's kind of like, okay, now we supposed to be together, and then one of us is supposed to be the person that's being a rabbit for this other colored folks, and now they telling them, okay, well, we need to know that, it's just it's set up against us, but if we stay focused, we can make it happen. Even within, like, it's a lot of stuff what I want to say about people, or I feel some type of way, but I know that's not doing us any justice, like as a people. Now I can address a person quickly, but all we doing is tearing each other down and showing other people that. Like, can we keep our business to ourselves?
Sometimes, exactly, and just have it within our own group. Like, look, don't let
we fight
everybody
each
know.
other. It seems like like what she's saying. Like we keep fighting each other. We lose sight of what's actually going on. And when you do that, I push that initiative with myself. That's what I Get Your Life initiative is the same thing. What you're saying is, if you don't understand yourself, how can we all get together? But once we start understanding, like, dang, okay, there's more things out here to do in the world, and to be mad at Hugh or to be mad at Joelle for what they got going on.
Right.
What they got going on may influence you to do something else as well. You can
Exactly.
jump on the boat, but some people's pride is just so overwhelmed and so bigger than you, bigger than life. You figure like, oh, I'm not. Fuck you, fuck Joelle's. We get to the point where we like she said, we lose sight
of the bigger picture.
Of the bigger picture. It's so much more going on.
I think a lot of the time, we're brought up in this culture where we're so individualized, and we are constantly seeing ourselves in like this one position, but we don't think about often that we can have other people with us, and like everyone else was saying, we can elevate other people up. I don't think that's really in our culture to be working together.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Something that's been lost.
It's in our culture.
Yeah,
it's in our culture.
It
just
broke us down.
Yeah.
They broke us down, but it's in us. Like,
That's
what we are.
Views that way.
Right.
When y'all keep thinking of saying this, the only thing that keep popping in my head is the Jim Crow law. Like, they just keep popping in my head the whole time y'all was talking. Like, blacks versus blacks, tall versus short, light versus dark.
The Willie Lynch.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
But
always putting.
When you have certain minds that's trying their best to push the initiative differently, some people just have to get on the bandwagon. It's hard to accept that. Okay, this is Joelle. Okay, it's hard for you to accept, but he's here. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. What can you do? He's taking the initiative and he's pushing it. You know what I mean? Like you. It's not a lot of young black young. You know what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, it's like a young. That's what I'm saying though. It's a lot of people that's not ready to be Fonz.
They don't know how to follow. They don't know how to follow.
Farnsworth Bentley. You know, a lot of people don't want to. But he's somewhere sitting. He's done. He's done working. You know what I mean? He did his job. And that's what we don't. It's so hard for us to just band together and make something.
Because everybody want to have the power. Everybody want to be the main man. Everybody want to be the big shot.
That's why they made Instagram and stuff like that for people just
instead
to make
of learning
illusion.
how to follow behind. Like you were even saying about us, like. Even doing this podcast, we don't know who may take off and just blow up, but then we all here together with a purpose right now. But I'm not gonna say, well, Courtney, nah, girl, you ain't supposed to go do that little modeling shoot because you supposed to be here. Like, no, you don't stop people from growing. You want to try to. That's what we're here for.
You're not here to end
like
somebody else's narrative.
Exactly, we're here to build something, help you build a platform for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of us, like what she's saying, like what you guys are are a part of. Like a lot of us, like you say, we don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
We're not even part of
That's
the
why I just
conversation.
Made her say it, title. I want to make her say it again. Say that one more time, please. I'm sorry. I just love the title.
Democratic Party treasurer.
That's cool.
And your name is again. Your name is again.
Deaja Ruffin.
Deaja Ruffin. Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm just so happy to just see a diverse group of people that have a different mindset. Like the show is worth. It's called Old School versus New School. Okay, like my main thing is I tell everybody I'm tired of the old politics.
Right, the
period.
old ways.
The old politics, period. Like, however you want to take your politics, is your street politics, your politics in the boardroom, your politics in the government offices. All of those old things are different now. People, you can literally be a rich person tomorrow. You can walk out of here. I can film you falling down the stairs, Hugh, and you'll be on Ellen Wednesday. Wednesday, you'll be on Ellen. You like, and you got a career off of that now.
Right.
Now you just.
Crazy.
That's like nigga that fell down the stairs.
It's that.
Exactly. He done went viral.
So like you saying, like it's the same with like you guys in office. Like, you know, if you can get the right laws passed and to change things, to change people's mind states, to change people's mind frames, things can be different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People can become different. You can have different cultures. You can have different environments to live in. We don't have to no longer be caged into, as they call, projects. You know what I mean? That's why they would call projects. You guys were projects. We don't even need those type of things nowadays. Because what you do is you keep the mind state and the mind frames of the people that's around us and your children and everything like that the same.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. Like we don't like a lot of people changing their eating habits and things like that. A lot of people are changing their different, their views and changing how they think. You know what I mean? A lot of things on how they,
They like, okay, now this is getting real old. Literally, like it's getting.
You said health.
Yes, health. Like he just said, like
our
generation.
Our generation, like older folks, we were grown on. Like say like you, like at Thanksgiving, what's the meal? Greens, collard greens, macaroni,
greens,
cheese,
potatoes,
yams. Come on, man. Come on. Now you got people like now they changing up. Now they saying I don't want to do that no more. We having a lamb chop. We having a lobster. We having a shrimp and saying. Nobody's doing it. That's the change that we need to change the views and the way people think.
Because when I tell my mom,
tired
like,
of the old Negro
Mom, I
spiritual.
don't eat this. She's like, girl, you was brought up on this. What do you? I'm like, okay, but that was way
I might
back.
get a lot of flack for it, but I'm tired of the old
Not good for me.
spiritual myself.
So I do. That's one thing that I will.
It's new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, you can take the old ways and implement them in the way you think because it can empower what you're thinking. But at the same time, it's new ways, new views.
Yeah.
Like she thinks totally different than me. I'm 42. I don't know how old you are, but you think totally 25. You think totally different than me. I don't know. Courtney thinks totally different than me. Her views may be different than your views. His views is totally different than him and you may think totally different. So we have to understand that part. And a lot of people don't want to understand that it's 6 different people in the room.
Exactly.
You know, I can't be like him. I can't be you. It's impossible.
Right.
And oftentimes it's hard to, sometimes people make it hard to coexist with all of these different perspectives. Like you don't have to have the same perspective either, but at least validate somebody else's perspective or experience. You know?
So it's just not like, well, yeah, no thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to pass that.
Yeah, some people do that.
Yeah. Now, my experience, being in the school system, like even we're millennials, but I don't know about you, E. Sorry. But even the kids that's in the school now, they're, millennials too, in a different generation. I don't know the name exactly, but it's like even watching them grow up, it's like some old school things I think still needs to stay in place because it's valid, like respect and, things of that nature, because I feel like with the kids under us, they have lost all respect for everybody. They sell. I'm telling you, I'm watching it like they don't. They don't. They even say it themselves, like disrespect. Like they know
said
they.
that about us though. They said we ain't had no respect.
But do you see the generation under you? Do you feel like,
I feel way less respect than they do right now.
I feel like if I was outside or if I was in school in the hallway, especially in middle school, like I wasn't running down the hallway like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Like, because it's teachers everywhere. Middle school, I said not high school, but middle school, like you running down the hallway talking about, bitch, what are you talking about? Like,
that's my man.
What? You know, we would at least wait till we was outside, way off somewhere in the field before we start cussing.
You ain't the same age as me.
I'm 32.
I'm 33.
So you're 33. We grew up together, Hugh. You were on my porch. You forgot.
I look like him. I know.
So look,
nobody said that.
all right, so look, boom.
Nobody said that.
So look, boom. I feel like we had less respect than the generation after us.
I don't.
You say you feel what now?
You must have got disrespected. Yeah.
I feel like we had less respect for the adults in our era than the people the kids that's teens right now. I feel like that because of drugs. We had
in that aspect.
I'm for real. I feel like we had a lot of drugs going on, and we were selling them. So we had more money than some of the adults.
Yeah.
So we didn't respect you. Like automatically, your respect is gone because, like, all right, what you drive? Like,
that's dealing with somebody that's got a, a disease or an issue. That's different.
Even some of the teachers, like,
I would say,
if a kid coming to school with 10,000,
it never changes,
too,
right? It never changes.
Yeah.
Everything
like,
happens
it's all the same.
It's
all the same.
I just feel like now, like I feel like even when I was just growing up, I just still felt like adults. Like, of course, if you see somebody irresponsible adult, you don't really feel like you really gotta listen. But some maybe inkling, maybe that's because how I was raised. Like some inkling to be like, even if they're off whatever, I'm still not gonna just totally disrespect them because I was just brought up not to disrespect my elders. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, like the old lady telling you to get off her grass, I didn't be like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, who you talk? Get your ass in the house. Like,
and filming it
exactly.
too.
Like,
And filming.
I'm hearing kids say that. It's kids 7 years old cussing out adults.
Not our age, bro.
That's what I said.
Not my kid. Not no.
Some of them people would have came out.
See, some of these people, some of y'all ain't been punched in the chest. Y'all ain't been punched in the chest. That's all.
Exactly.
Your uncle ain't punched you in the chest. It made you lose every breath you had.
We had to do that.
Hurt you.
To some kids.
Chill, bro. That lady cool.
But it's kids now. They like, why do I gotta respect an adult if they don't respect me? Like, but they don't realize that they think they are on your level. Meaning, if I punk smack you, I'm going to jail. You know, but they think they can just run up and hit you or just they own your level.
Right.
Like they just think they are. And
they don't think that they have
you
accountability
even know how to
for
put
their
on
actions.
a tampon? Like, no, you're not on my level. No, go sit down and go get a pamphlet and learn how. Like. But they think they are because they're exposed to so much. They see so much. They think they know so much. Like, I feel like they have so much exposure, but they don't have experience. So they think because they've seen it on TV or they hear it on a song that they know how it go. But you haven't experienced that. You don't really know situations can turn out any kind of way.
Now, speaking of that,
we got to have a young person in here to have their opinion.
There's two young
I
people
am,
right
yeah.
It's three.
24,
How old are you? 24, 25, 24.
You talking about a teen.
But they not that far from there.
I mean, whoa.
You should want to be young. Now y'all supposed to.
I want to be young, but I can't relate to them. They're
No.
different than me.
That's what I'm
From a
saying.
different cloth.
So she see what I'm saying. They are a little different.
But we done all been there before. Like, I
Yeah.
can't
And I
say
understand
that.
It was just
that.
a different time.
When you a young person, like I tell them all the time when I was 13, 14, I thought I was grown. I thought I knew everything. You know, but I wasn't expressing it to everybody. You know, my friends like, yeah, but to adults, it's like, no. But then a lot of them, I think, are being put in roles that make them older. Like they watching 5 kids and they like, girl, you make sure you get my debit card to pay the bill online, right? You know, they just doing so much.
We can add politics into that, though.
Yeah.
It's like the parents can't be at home.
Exactly.
You know? Like our black men are getting arrested, you know. Even what's going on. Right. So, you know, I looked up a study. It said that within, I think, 30 days, within 3 days, a person that goes to jail can lose their house and their job. Wow. And that's a study that's been said. So it's like that is and that's just for minor offenses. You know, if somebody get pulled over and they're driving on suspended licenses because they can't pay $100 ticket, but they're trying to get to work. You know, it's like within what's going on, it's definitely what's getting us tied up. So the kids are seeing this happening. They like, this is gonna happen to me
and
too.
If you live in a certain type of household, the man can't live there. Cannot live there with the family. Cannot live there with his child, his wife. He cannot live there.
In what instances are you discussing?
Like say for instance, like a Section 8 type of thing, or if you live in a project home, the man is not allowed to live there.
Or like Girls on the Run, like a women's shelter.
I'm not hip to
I think
that.
he mean like if you're getting some type of aid from the state and they're providing you housing.
He's not allowed to live with you all.
Oh wow.
No matter if he has kids living there with you
so that separates the mentality.
So that's like a part of the system that's just made for you to be like.
So with like the old school, new school thing, with you guys being in the politics, how is it with the being in there with the old thinkers and like when you're trying to implement your thought, with their thought just has to come across as right, but you're right, because I tell a lot of people I went to school as well. I got an education, A and B and C. I used to get that right. A was right. I got good grades. I got 100% a lot too. So it's like, okay, like, so you telling me I'm not right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it like with you being in there and you trying to implement your thoughts to the old thoughts, the new thoughts?
I think sometimes just with some of the old heads, it's just like they just be moving so glacially. Like it's like you be trying, like how you were saying, like even if we know you're right, it's like it's just like math. Like in math, like in school, they used to ask you to show your work. But like sometimes I could just think about the problem right there. I won't write it down and shit, but on the test, if I didn't show my work, I get a bad grade. And it's kind of like even with some of my colleagues, it's like they want to show their work. They want to run through the whole process, and you're like, man, it's right here. This is all we got to do.
Right.
We strike this little piece out right here, add this sentence, add this word in there, we good to go. And they're like, well,
same outcome.
It's just It's just like sometimes when you're dealing with folk, and it's a lot of times because it's new to you.
Process.
It's new to them sometimes too. So it's like you got to walk them through the steps so they can learn it. But sometimes it just, sometimes that conversation kind of defeats the progress. Because now you thinking about, even like, for example, she's talking about these 3 days. Everything's on the timeline. So when you're talking about creating laws, when you're talking about creating policies and doing stuff like this, it's on the timeline. It's like you every day that you continue to process out, that's somebody else that you ain't helping.
Right.
And so sometimes it's like the piece that you got to get over. But I mean, it's interesting as well, because then you kind of get to learn how they think. And so like moving forward,
like
you know what, this is how I need to approach, so I can go ahead and
make this happen.
Ahead and slide. So
for people who don't know, can you say your title?
I'm a state representative, neighborhood hope dealer.
No.
And that pertains to what? What is it that you actually?
A state representative.
So as a state representative, I represent 5 cities. I represent 11 districts. So I got Inkster, Garden City, Dearborn Heights, Livonia, and Westland. With that role, I basically work for about 60,000 people, more than that, out in Lansing, advocating on their behalf. When I'm at the Capitol, we really be working on laws, legislation, having meetings. I'm really just representing the interests of the entire district.
So you get laws passed, or you making laws?
Both.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You killing.
But it's like, as a state rep, it's kind of like you got to create your own path. Like, it's certain things that I wouldn't even say you're required to do. It's certain things that you're supposed to do as a state rep. But, you could be a real bad one. You could just go, vote, do whatever. Or you could, like, go, make sure you're having meetings in the community, talking to the people, keeping them posted, in the neighborhoods. But you got some people that just collect the check. So it's like, as a state rep, you just kind of got to create your own,
your own personality.
So what is one of your goals?
My goals is really just, I kind of want to figure out something big for me is succession planning. So, like, I want to make sure, like, because I got 2 years left. So I want to make sure there's somebody who's able to come up after me so we can start creating a pipeline, for folk to actually represent.
What do you mean when you say 2 years left? Why you only got 2 years left?
We got term limits in Michigan. So you can run for 3 2-year terms in the House of Representatives in Michigan. So I've been in, this will be my 4th year. So I have 2 years left I can run for. I ran my last campaign this year. So I'm looking around trying to figure out, like, who do we get who we can support for the next go round, so we can keep somebody that represent our interests, in that position. So that's what's big to me, and in all communities, in Detroit, Ypsi, Flint, Saginaw, all these places where we have, folks that look like us, and we have people representing that look like us. We need to figure out, because even like John Conyers, Congressman Conyers, the Dean of Congress, but he stayed in there for so long. Definitely developed a lot of people, but it was kind of like when he passed away suddenly, and then when all the allegations came up suddenly and he resigned, it's like who's supposed to support? It just became an open field. But I think we had to be more strategic and say it's not an open field, and we got to come together, how y'all was talking about earlier, to say, you know what, I want to run, you want to run, she want to run, he want to run, but we're gonna go ahead and put you up, we all gonna get behind you, support you. You gonna run, stay in there for however long, and then, we're gonna pop her in. Like, we just gotta be more strategic how we plan, so we can actually,
just like the other groups. That's what they do. They keep people in line. Okay, we know you leaving. We already groomed up XYZ, and he's ready to go. So that's what other cultures do.
So have you found who the person that you want to come up after you?
Yeah, I found a couple of folk. I'm kind of like playing it, because we still got a little bit of time left. So I'm kind of just, I'm sitting back. I just be pinging little stuff here and there, paying attention, throwing little stuff at folks, seeing how they react to it.
Outside of politics, what do you got going on?
I got a nonprofit called the Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
Okay.
It's most nonprofits are 501c3s, but this is 501c4, because with a 501c4 you can advocate on political issues too. So it's like also a way for me to like
still
not really campaign, but
and that
still
name is
stay
again.
involved.
What was that name again?
Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
Okay.
Neighborhood Hope.
Besides that, I got a clothing brand called Holla. That's just a little
Holla.
hashtag I use. There y'all go. Hashtag I use. And just got a little nephew, some other, some godchildren, stuff like that. Outside of that, deacon at church, police
church.
work.
You single man?
Single, very single.
Very single.
What is your views on the relationships today versus like how your parents' relationship is, or the old school relationship?
It's such a dirty game out here, My parents been married for, I think it's about, on April 1st it'll be 27 years.
Oh, that's
I believe, and it's like, that's all cool. They have to work through. You got to work through something to get to 27 years. Like,
not
y'all
easy.
gotta really like each other. But when I'm looking out here nowadays, it's just like it could be a hit or miss. Like, because I know how I am, and then I know how other people are, and it's just like. Like if y'all not together, like, and where it's like the physical, I don't want to say it, not attraction, but like just knowing where the person is, like having them there with you, like that's so important these days. Because if not, like,
you got to be around each other.
You got to be around each other.
And you got to love being around each other.
Because I do feel like today it's like we know it's a microwave society, but
we talked about
I just feel like everybody's just having sexual relationships. It's like, okay, yeah, we gonna have sex and right? we do that, and then it's like you try to base a relationship off sex, right? Lust. And then you realize like 6 months later, like, oh my God, I don't like that. He chew funny, this and that, all type of stuff. You realize that I feel like when you first get into it, you kind of in a fog. You kind of like, I'm in love. I'm in love cloud.
Major role.
Don't have sex, y'all.
Right.
Don't do it. Cancel. Sex is canceled for 2020.
It's natural. It's very natural.
Look at the boy. They like, hold on now. Wait a minute.
It was like, this was the wrong day to come.
You so silly.
Very
It
natural.
is natural, but I'm saying it's a responsibility.
No, people just need to learn to grow up. Fuck
Exactly.
all of the bullshit.
Exactly.
Sex ain't got shit to do with
Communication
it.
is important.
Drugs ain't got nothing to do with it. Nothing got nothing to do with it. People just need to grow up and deal with the issue. You don't like me, I don't like you. Let's just get. If you don't like each other, y'all don't like each other. That's what people need to understand.
Exactly.
Quit playing like you like people.
Communication.
That's the thing. Quit pretending. Like, don't go out here and date
I don't want to
somebody.
just be with you only.
Right. Don't go out here and date somebody.
wanna be
You
with you and
you
you
experiencing relationships
know
with
if you
them.
like
Y'all
this.
traveling together. Y'all doing
You
this
just
and
gotta
doing
be
that.
upfront
And then you turn
about
around and be like, well,
everything.
you got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with taking on that responsibility. But you've been dating for 2
You
years.
said the word dating though.
But that's the
We
thing. What are you
dating.
working towards? Like, why
We
would
don't
you?
know.
But
We
why
ain't
would you
working
do
towards
all of
nothing.
that
We
if
was
you
having
know
fun. You ruined
already
it
you're
now.
not ready to
Until you
take
got a
on
ring
the
on your finger, it shouldn't be
responsibility?
serious at all.
Sometimes you just don't know yet.
These are the facts.
That's real though.
These are
I'm
the
saying,
facts.
like,
Unless
it's a
you
lot of
married, you
guys,
really don't.
but it's a lot of guys out here that
Technically,
it's a lot of
if
guys
you're not
out
married,
here.
you're just
But stop
fucking-
playing. Don't I understand that? I mean, I
Technically.
understand
I'm
sexual
talking all the way up into the
relationships.
day.
Some people are on the
Love
same
it.
page. Stop talking. Where one person might be like, okay, I like you. We both we're busy, but we can come together and do this. And it's okay for some people if that's the same page they're on. But if you know you're a good guy, you got a decent lifestyle, you got yourself together to be with a woman, you're dating women and somewhat exclusive with certain ones that you're doing, I just feel like it's a boundary. Like, don't go out of town.
The boundary is that you still know what else they're doing.
It's-
So it's like
yeah.
you know that's like
You
that's
making a
you.
choice.
That's you like looking
Making a
like
choice.
I don't see that. Like I'm trying to be blurred to that because
Exactly.
Don't
That,
be-
that's
don't-
that's
Don't do
that's-
that.
But oftentimes people don't explicitly say from the jump like
You
what
don't
they're
they don't
doing.
have to. It's actions.
Right.
Actions show it
No,
all. You don't have to say nothing.
You would know.
Uh-uh.
You would
would
know.
know.
You
No.
don't know.
No,
You
you
know.
have
You
to
know.
say.
You may,
You get that feeling.
you may not know what they're doing, but
you
because
feel
if
it.
somebody
Know
love
they
you,
doing something.
you
Feel
can
it.
like they can show you like that they really want to be with you, and you might because to me I feel like everybody be on trash to a certain extent, especially
Right.
if you're not married. But once you recognize that they really want to be with you, okay, you might put up with some stuff. But if you recognizing that they want to be with you on certain days and certain times. What are
You
you
know
doing?
what's going
like
on.
you're not building anything.
playing
there,
around.
you
But
know?
you still gotta say it.
If y'all only
That's
at the
just me
house.
though.
I feel it.
That's just me.
But
You gotta
If
say
you're
it.
only at the
feel it.
house, what's going on?
I can't answer after 9. Stop playing around.
You knew
Somebody
he had
can't
something
after-
going on.
That's
I
old
talk
school
to
right
you
there.
all
That's when the
day at
minutes
work.
was free. The minutes was free after 9.
Yeah,
After
changed.
7.
Right,
I
free
talk to
before
you all
7.
day while I'm at work. I don't answer the phone for you when I get off. You know what's going on? Stop playing around.
But then it's like, as a man, why don't you just say that instead of saying,
For
girl, you know, I was
what?
doing this. I was.
Because I'm figuring you got enough sense to do what I'm doing too.
Or they might be busy.
No, because then
They might
the
be
woman
busy.
gonna force them as a woman.
Yeah.
You force like I done been through all of this, but that's why I don't deal with that no more. But as a woman, you force them like if they be like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now. Why not? Da, 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 da. And then you respond back, and then you know what I mean.
It's
It's just
right.
like
I
now
got
you
her.
It'll
putting
be so
yourself
I
in there.
got her.
A lot of women just be
You're
wanting
like,
to. They just be wanting to hear you say, like, look, I got somebody. Even though we know it, we want to hear it come out your mouth. Like, just say, yeah,
not
I'm
gonna tell
here
you.
with. But that's so annoying. Like, I know
I
you
mean,
know,
but
we
sometimes
know.
you just got to
say it.
reality.
So I can cuss your
reality
ass
is
out and dump
hard
your
to
ass.
understand.
That's what
I just need to.
See?
But if I don't never get a
You ain't gonna come
confirmation,
over here
it's
and do that one
always
thing that I love if
limbo.
I tell you.
Exactly, that's selfish.
I mean, at the end of the day, people aren't even honest with themselves about who they are. So
That's
who's gonna be
true.
honest with anybody else?
Burn. Now
I'm
that's
just-
real.
That's
Real talk.
it. That's it. That's
Because you
all.
could want to do it. You can want it to be
That's
so good, and then something can just happen and come up, and then next thing you know, it's like,
It's over.
You on to something next?
man.
On to the next?
Whoa.
Yeah, you ain't even got to be on to the next. You just be sitting there as soon as you get back to the crib, like, damn, I'm gonna have to go inside. I just can't talk about this. It's between me and God.
Jesus.
I don't even
Gotta
wanna-
keep that.
You
secret
need to
from me.
communicate.
Yep.
Sometimes
For
some
what?
people just don't. The reality nowadays,
It'll help.
like she
Everything is
said,
not for everybody.
save yourself.
Some people
I
can handle
We are
things.
queens.
Save
Exactly.
Women out there.
Queen.
Your king is
And
still
goddesses.
alive, okay?
Yes.
And if
We
not, we
finna-
cool with being Paula, okay?
We not,
Baby.
We not
finna
Paul, but we
lie
can be
and
Paula.
act
for
like
sure.
Everybody is kings and queens. Some people
Right.
are pawns.
No.
Okay. You got, yeah, you
Nothing
got,
like everybody's king and
Knights.
queens.
We
you got
are.
knights, yeah,
Rooks.
bishops.
Talk about knights and bishops.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody
chess.
ain't no queen.
They should not be that
Everybody
life
complex.
is chess.
king.
Life
it's
is
not,
chess.
It's not
Well,
chess.
you sound
Life
like
is
a
a
real
game of
pawn
chess, they
over
say.
there, sir. Mr. Hugh, you sound like a pawn over there.
He is.
Listen, I'm just letting you know, everybody ain't no queen now. Everybody ain't no king. You ain't finna just walk up on everybody like, he's a king. You know this nigga.
I don't know. You sounded like a joker.
You know that's
Talk
John.
about Joker.
Boo Boo ain't no king.
So do y'all think that the sanctity of marriage is still
There.
there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still there.
I don't know
If you
where
do
it
it.
date.
I
I
ain't
don't know
never
where
been
at.
married. I want to be
He's
married.
about I don't know where
I
at.
don't know where at, like what city, but it's somewhere. I'm gonna find the city, but I don't think it's.
It's a
none
city
the
of
cities
lovers. Lovers.
That
love.
y'all that I.
Yeah, it still exists. I think
know
it's
where it's at.
love is still out. Love is in
She
the air.
said marriage.
Yeah, I'm
Marriage
talking
is
about-
it.
That's
Yeah.
love and marriage is two totally different
No,
things.
it's-
People want things so instantaneously
Yeah.
now, so I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's
marriage.
hard for like people to work through stuff.
Yeah, because they got married because they just was in love that month or them 6 months, and now they
Or
like,
I paid your bills. while
you
was
you
messed
done broke
up.
your leg and now you can't work. Oh, I don't know if I
See,
want to
now
be in
that's
this
the crazy
relationship.
part.
You can't
No.
support me?
You
See,
lost
so
your
what we doing
job.
ain't that bad. That's how y'all treating us.
Yeah.
Taking us to the curb because we hurt, you know.
No,
And,
yeah, they
and
kick
you know,
you to the
when
curb.
you get married, they say in sickness and health, and you can't even take care. You can't even help nurse me with my leg, bro.
I can't help you once you take
If-
that hat off.
Somebody
If-
else
if-
will.
Ooh, wee.
It's a lot of hatfishes out here.
Catfish.
Shout out to the hatfish.
Man. She said a hatfish.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, can you take off your hat for a second? I just need to see your hair.
So,
He's like, oh, you just want to see? Yeah, I need
No.
to
wanna
see.
get
No,
married?
it's like it can be bald.
Just
Andrew, you
no,
wanna
I
get
ain't
married?
talking about bald. I'm talking
Yeah.
about
That's
struggling that hairline.
Yeah,
got a
if
timeline?
it's
That struggle line.
Let me
nice
take my shit off.
bald,
then.
okay? Nice
Let me
bald.
take my shit off. I look good. Which way you want me to do? Want me to
Okay.
no, I don't need none of that. Yeah. I look like your brother, your young brother.
I'm like,
Yeah.
your young
yourself
brother.
get
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
got a
mean,
timeline?
no.
That's what I said. I don't
No.
have it. I want to
I
get
just don't want to
married.
be old when I have kids. Cause
Marriage. You
Oh,
see it?
certainly.
You got a timeline?
No.
You don't even care. You be
It's a-
30
It's
years
hard
from
to
now.
have a timeline
Yeah,
today.
I just gotta have a vision for it. I don't have the vision for it right now.
right.
You so far from that right now.
Not
You can't
so
see
far,
yourself.
but I haven't like focused on that. So
she's trying to change
When I
communities
see-
out here.
When somebody say
She's too
marriage is
busy.
so gray, it's like far as hell from me.
no.
I need a telescope to see.
Let's see. That's what you
Telescope.
say?
He said it's in
You
the
do?
galaxy.
I'm saying, but marriage, it seems so far. Like, you know
For
what I mean?
men, I always
What
feel
it is,
like
marriage,
it's
you
marriage
don't know
is
where
far.
it's at.
Right.
See, everybody out here
scared
thinking
of
like it's just booth. We're going to do it June 2nd, 2022. Man, come on. Just if you
I
want to
gotta
get
ask
married,
I gotta
you
ask
just
somebody
never
in the room a
know. You
question.
never know.
Because I think you're the only person in here that's been married.
Yeah.
How do you feel about marriage now
Than you did
than you
before.
did back then?
It's an interesting institution. I mean, no, I mean honestly, I mean, dude, the first time I got married, I was young and stupid. I was 24. I had no business.
God.
How
getting
long
married.
did you stay married?
6 years.
Oh wow.
That was
And it was, I was dumb. There's no other way to put it.
It was all you.
Well, no. There's a whole long story here about how my ego really screwed up my life. But yeah.
yeah,
You got the. That's how you did. That's how you lost it.
But at the
doing
end of the day,
the-
she's the reason why I'm out here in Michigan. Like she's the
Okay.
reason why I moved here from DC.
Oh, we wouldn't have knew you.
So-
bro.
Silver
We wouldn't know
lining,
you.
it is what
My
it is.
man.
Yeah.
My man.
So,
Nice, Dave.
so that's
So
the
y'all
thing.
was
I mean,
supposed to date, y'all just wasn't supposed to marry.
I mean, it was
supposed
yeah.
to.
I mean, at the time, it seemed like a good idea. And if I had $1 for every time I've said that in my life, no. So I mean, here's the thing. I mean, marriage is more. Like nowadays, I get it. It's more about like the legal aspects and just making sure that both of your asses are covered and all that kind of stuff. Dude, like the big church wedding thing. Like God forbid I ever get married again, but like that's not gonna happen. Like it
You
just
going down to the.
It just we'll
Call me
elope Vegas and I'll
Something
throw a
fun.
huge dude. Because here's the thing, like why are you gonna? And again, looking back, like all of the headaches and hassles and pain in the ass that it was,
Yeah.
dude. I'd have rather taken all that time and all that money and just thrown a kick-ass party, which I did because the reception was ridiculous. But
Oh.
just ignore all the church crap
Yeah.
and do that. I mean, no. I mean, if it's the right person and it's someone that you want to have some sort of affiliation for the rest of your life with, especially if kids are involved, I think it's a good idea.
What you gonna do
I mean,
about
that's like I
prenup?
said, it's a lot of the legalities to it, and it's a lot of the responsibilities to it. You know, like if you're buying a house,
You're an important person. How you gonna feel about the prenup?
dude, I had one before.
shit.
No, I mean it's dude, protect your ass.
Right.
No, but I mean it's like but here's the thing, like so it's like marriage when it comes to legality issues. I've got a friend of a friend who the girl that he was living with for the better part of 12 years developed a really nasty form of cancer and crashed out and died inside of 6 months.
Oh my God.
Even though they were together for 12 years and he had been living there for 11 of them and was making the house payments and all that kind of fun stuff, the kids swooped in and kicked him out. Because they never took the time to get married. They never took the time to get his name added to the paperwork. That's the kind of shit that can happen to you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, and that, you know, that works for women too. You know, make sure, you know, if it's a thing, it ain't a thing if it ain't in writing. Like,
That's what I
you know, the ring
We
and
ain't
everything
gotta
else,
get married, but I need to be on this paper, and that paper.
Like with
So
that,
when you,
like with the
if you
marriage
die,
thing, with the
them
marriage
kids better
thing.
go on and fall back.
You guys in
I got it.
politics.
You
how
talking
things
about
are-
somebody?
Right.
Yeah, she
That
been
sounded
talking about
personal.
somebody the
She
whole
said
time.
vicarious. That's a
She been talking
vicarious
about somebody.
experience.
Yeah, we've been living through her through the show right now. Okay. Yeah, I've been listening
Airing
to
out that
She's,
laundry.
she's been subtweeting this entire conversation.
Oh, yes.
Who you mad
Oh,
at?
yes.
She's been subtweeting the whole
Who you
time.
mad at?
Okay, like that being said with the marriage thing, like okay, like the old politics. This is what old school, new school. The old politics is like by you guys being single, not married, not I guess do they shun upon you guys a little bit in the
I ain't gonna lie. I
in the
thought you had
government?
to be married to
That's
be
what
a
I thought.
politician.
Oh.
I always thought
it's
that.
a lot of single folks.
Yeah, it is a lot of
Word.
single folk.
Okay.
It's a lot of older single folk.
Okay.
You know, it's
I don't know why.
Maybe because I
maybe
always
we
thought
just all
because
that
it's the
of
president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
You just kind of look at it.
Like
and
can the
think,
president be
Good
single?
conversation.
The president could be single too.
But you think
Just
we
don't
could get a
look
single
good.
president?
It's just you know when you get into politics and stuff, a lot of people look at like these optics and they like want to like
How does it look?
think it's like this
So-
cookie cutter thing.
so-
Like,
Family
you need X,
life.
Y, and Z. You gotta do X, Y, and Z. You gotta.
So
gotta
some of that
wear-
stuff made up.
Yeah, I think so. I think like you
Some of
just-
those
as long as-
couples are
single.
made
as long
up.
as
in
your
it.
people like you and
Sure.
support you,
Everything
I
is
think you can be
staged.
cool. You know,
Okay.
like
Everything is staged.
it could be man, it could be
Of
it could be a dude
Olivia
who's
Pope.
gay who has a fake
Mm.
wife
It's like, nah.
just to look like he married.
We've
you know?
seen
Or it could
scandals.
be somebody
Olivia
who's
Pope.
single and they have a fake
Olivia
wife
Pope.
Just to look.
We
you
know
know,
Melania
real.
don't like Trump for real.
The angle.
Come
the
on.
angles.
I do think this-
how
She
are we
always
looked
has that
at?
look on her
Right.
face like,
Yeah.
I just wanted
Even
to be a
the
mail
dogs.
order bride. What the hell
Even
happened?
the
I just
dogs.
wanna
How
go
did I
home.
end up
Yeah.
here?
I just want money.
I'd become a whole person.
Exactly.
That's
I'm doing
hilarious.
what
She's
now?
talking- Even the dog.
So it's all optics, is what you're actually saying.
Not the dog.
Just it's show and tell.
I ain't
Well,
gonna
and I
lie,
guess
I thought that too.
here's a good question. Being young and single and in the political world, does living in the instant social media sphere concern you at all? Like, I mean, it's my buddy and I have joked for the longest time. Like, we're basically each other's mutually assured destruction pact that neither one of us will ever get into politics. Because my biggest fear is it'll be, dude, I'd run for office and it'll be me hanging out at Temple Bar or me hanging out at Whiskey in the Jar and somebody will be like, oh, so and so's drunk and
So is this? I was about
Like,
to
do
ask
you worry
is
about
this
that stuff?
that y'all can't do?
I mean, I don't think I really worried about it too much. I mean, as long as you got people around you that's tight and
Got
you
your
just
back.
just don't do nothing crazy. Like even if I wasn't in politics, I wouldn't be out getting like torched, if I was just out in public, and so it's like I do the same thing, but I'm a regular dude, and I'm over 21, so if I was out at a bar and I was out drinking, somebody caught it, cool, it's whatever,
I ain't doing
It's
nothing
just
wrong.
Not if he giving
handle
somebody a
your business,
motorboat.
Different.
That'd be like Jew.
That'd be different. You might get some votes off of that.
Yeah,
You might get
nowadays
you might get some votes
You might
off
get
of
some.
that. It'd be like the video.
Trump in
I'll be on
office, so
Ellen.
you
I'll be on Ellen.
Or what was that
Young
pastor
state
name?
representative motorboat.
Pastor Wilson gonna be doing a pastor.
Oh.
Got a whole new congregation, whole new
man.
10,000
Y'all
followers.
trying to get him a whole
Probably got a
new,
private
them
jet.
new constituents.
Exactly.
Totally different constituents right there.
Right. Well, Jewel, I know that you definitely got to go. I appreciated you and Diaja. I gotta give you a nickname, Diaja.
We
No,
ain't
what's
nothing
your
without
nickname? Dee
roughing.
We gonna go with Diaja.
Cause I be wanting to call her
D.
Siaja,
Ruffin.
cause I got a student named Siaja.
Well, that's good. It's just a D.
Diaja Ruffin.
DC. Diaja, come back too. You guys
this is
come
great.
back.
This is a nice show. It's a nice vibe.
Yeah, we all young. We ain't trying. We want to get the
Ruffin.
information out there, but we want our
I'm
listeners to know that
so
we're
crazy.
just
I'm
like
the
them.
uncle. I'm
Okay.
Unc
Big,
over
that's
here.
big Unc.
Big Unc.
Sure.
Yeah, so y'all come back anytime. I definitely want to have you guys back in the spring, you know, when it's sunny out. See what else is going on. Give you about 3 to 6
Yeah,
months
keep us
to get it
posted
together.
on-
Come on
Keep
back.
us posted on everything.
Yeah, and any events, anything, you know, invite us out so we can show up.
March 14th, I'm having a cake tasting.
Okay.
And I'm having a special announcement, so y'all should
You make cake?
Ooh,
Oh, let me put
March 14th.
in my
What's the
calendar.
name? You got a cake? You got a name?
The Goods Bakery.
The
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where you located? That's you did home?
Home base, yeah.
You say Goods Bakery?
The Goods Bakery.
The Goods.
That they can look
BAYKERY.
Instagram?
Yep.
You got pictures on
Instagram
there
or
and everything?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm building my content, so I'm more professional with it now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You won't get a lot of content until I'm just busting them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
gather
But
a
come
bunch
to
of
the
stuff.
cake tasting, and you'll see.
man.
who
March
I'm
14th.
Yep.
Yeah. And shout out your Instagram or where people can reach you.
Diaja Ruffin, DIAJAHRUFFIN.
Thank you.
Again, she is the, what is
Cake
that, the
tasting.
13th?
District
I am
of
a
delegate.
child of God.
Okay.
The continuum of everything He says I am.
Okay,
I
then.
know
Okay.
that's
Do you already?
Jewel,
Yeah,
where can we
from
reach
the
you at?
Cake taste.
You can follow me
March
at
14th.
just Jewel Jones. It's Jewel Jones MI on there. I think JEWELL JONES.
All right.
Yeah, follow me.
And you
on
know
there.
to follow us. We on Instagram, the Key of Five Lovely, C Banks, Courtney
What
Banks,
was that charity
Hugh
again?
Chambers,
Oh, Neighborhood Hope Dealers.
Neighborhood Hope
Hope
If
Dealers.
Dealers.
anybody want to donate, just let me know.
Let them know. Donate, y'all.
You ain't got
Neighborhood
shirts
Hope
on
Dealers.
me.
Dealers.
That's a cold shirt.
We're supporting everybody black.
For real.
Yes.
Hold it on the shirt.
I saw. Did you have a shirt like that already?
Yeah, I think I,
I
had
saw
one.
one.
I had some kind of shirt. I be having a lot of shirts.
Yeah, we need some of that holler stuff up here, man, so we can represent for you too.
We gonna-
Exactly, because I've been waiting for my
All right, you came
shirt
to the fashion
for
show with it.
20 years
yeah.
ago.
I
So
was
definitely thank you guys for coming out. It's been a wonderful show.
E-money.
Yes,
We
and
really
we will
appreciate
get back
y'all.
with you guys
Appreciate
next
you guys.
week in February 7th. Where we'll be talking about
Nice having
epidemics
y'all.
when they hit the other communities.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Peace
Thank you guys for
out.
coming.
All right, bro.
Peace and love.
All right, now.
Appreciate you, brother.
We kept you guys a little bit longer.
I know. Sorry. I really.